passe. Super, l'artiste. Super, encore un but sensationnel. That's a brilliant bit of follow-up play by Mahe. Oh my goodness me, what a shot.
Sagosen setter det hen! Han setter den! De i semifinale igjen!
Hello everybody, welcome to the Uninformed Handball Hour. We're back again for another podcast about the Women's World Championship. And I've just finished this morning watching all the games, so I've plenty to say about all this. Sat down and watched all the games this morning. Not possible, of course, I'm only joking. A lot of games, a lot of big score lines. Tricky to say where some teams stand. Some teams looking absolutely incredible, but it can be a little bit deceiving with some of those score lines and some of the gaps between some of the teams. Chris and Alex, of course, are on the other end of each microphone.
We'll take this moment to also thank all our new Patreon subscribers. So Nani, who has come back to being a Patreon friend of the show. Appreciate you coming back in for the Women's World Championship. Also Barbie Kiss joined, and Arnoldus. All three of us joined for the tons of extra content that we'll be bringing throughout this World Championship, including this bonus episode. So if you want to hear the full episode, you will have to go to Patreon/Handball Hour and subscribe for as little as €3 a month, which will get you access for this month, and also likely you might want to stick around for European Championships on the men's side in January. So thanks to everyone who has subscribed, who's supported us. It's the reason why we can do all of these bonus podcasts. This is our 5th podcast in the last 8 days. So thanks to all of you who have supported us on Patreon. It gives us the energy to bring out lots of great content, and we'll continue doing so throughout this World Championship and into the new year.
Chris, you've been in Gothenburg, or commentating the games in Gothenburg so far.
The one place with low score lines, I would say, against the trend of the rest of the championship. The defensive purists are over here in Sweden at the moment.
So what have you enjoyed from what you've seen in Gothenburg so far? What's been your kind of big takeaways?
Yeah, I think it's mainly the fact that we've had a lot of low scoring battles. Like you could smell the tension from the court all the way up into my commentary spot yesterday as we saw Senegal sweat to beat China, and then the first half of that Sweden-Croatia game. To kind of add to what you said, I think we'll mention this a few times throughout the podcast, or kind of have this in mind where we're trying to compare teams now meeting in the main round, because this is where the groups all collide. That is so hard to compare the levels of these teams until they actually face off over the next couple of days. Then we'll start to get a better idea of where everyone stands. But at least from Sweden's perspective, they've had some brilliant goalkeeping from 2 different sources, which is very important for them. The defense has looked very solid, and different players have popped up for them in attacks at different times. So, there was a little bit of a worry about that. The second string, which we talked about before the championship, I think that's still there a little bit, but there is some depth in that team, and maybe more than we gave them credit for beforehand.
That was you, Chris. That was you.
That was Alex.
I think I backed up your original point.
Yeah. It was both of you.
It was both of us, yeah. It was the nameless faces who were doubting this team. The doubts, I think, are still a little bit there until they face the likes of Montenegro and Hungary in the next round. But it's, overall, I think it's been a good group phase, and particularly the emergence of Senegal, which we talked a lot about last time around, has been exciting here in Gothenburg.
Has it been a good group stage? Was my question. Because yes, Senegal emergence was pretty nice, but I think that is the Senegal's draw against Croatia is the only result in that whole group stage that you probably wouldn't have picked out before the tournament started. or at least went with the bookies' favourites.
I was talking about the Gothenburg group, not all of it. Brian asked me about the Gothenburg group. That's all.
Fair.
That's all
Fair.
I can reflect on. The rest, yeah, I think you're right. Is there anything there that that shocked? I mean, Montenegro beating Hungary. I mean, we could see it potentially happening, but it was a little bit of a surprise. Austria beating South Korea, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Yeah, Angola almost doing something, but then not against France. Yeah, and then besides that, I think you're right.
Japan also flattered to deceive, losing to Poland and easily beating Iran. It's just, yeah, it felt like this was, you know, we've talked about the 32 team world championship, and it felt like you could just get rid of this whole round altogether. Like the whole first group stage, and end up in this main round where we are, where it's going to be really exciting. You know, it looks really good from this point forward. But you know, what's the point of the first week and a half of this whole tournament to see the likes of Norway get a run out and just, you know, destroy every team? Yeah, there was something to it. You know, there were some close results at the start, and I know this is for the, like, to broaden the world of handball, but this time around, it just felt completely unnecessary.
I think when we talked about it in the running and the lack of a build-up, maybe, or the kind of perceived lack of the build-up, it's probably because of this, because there's the tension is not high at all for these opening matches. It couldn't be lower, really. It's kind of like almost like as you were going into the main round. And I think for a lot of fans, and if you're sitting at home thinking, okay, I haven't seen a minute of this championship, well, you haven't really missed a whole lot yet, and now you can really tune in. And I do feel like feel like you can tune in now and really start to see the best of it, and you won't have really missed a whole lot. And if it was like a series, I would have a very, very short recap to catch up on what happened, and then you're straight into the real action. And I do think now we do actually have some really big ties coming up, and I think we're going to learn a lot more about some of the other teams.
Shall we do a little quick recap for the people who are tuning in and may not have seen the tournament so far? Probably a good time to actually join in, watch it, get involved. We got the main rounds starting up. There's 4 main round groups. Again, a lot of groups here. In Group 1, Montenegro and Sweden are top with 4 points each. Behind them, Hungary, and then Croatia, Senegal. Then in last place, Cameroon are just going to be, the whipping girls, as Brian alluded to in the first preview podcast, that there's always going to be one team that's just way out of their depth, and it looks like it's going to be Cameroon in this group. In Group 2, it's Norway and France, the tasty matchup there. 2 teams, of course, go through to the quarterfinal, but matchups are very important at this stage. Then behind them, Slovenia and Austria on 2 points, and then Angola and South Korea on 0 behind them, but 2 teams that can make an impact. Group 3, a very impressive Denmark so far, top it, along with Germany on 4 points. Then Romania, Poland behind them, and I still have a lot of faith in Japan. So they're going to cause an upset in this Group 3. But they are on 0 points along with Serbia. And then the last group, Netherlands, who just sailed through that first group stage. They're on 4 points. No real challengers in the first round. Spain behind them, who just beat Brazil to 3rd place. And then Czech Republic on 2 points. Then Argentina and Ukraine rounding off that Group 4.
So here's a question for both of you then. What was the biggest surprise for you so far, and who was the biggest unknown quantity going into the main round, which is starting today?
The biggest surprise, I think, was Angola almost beating France. This was the group phase of the almost results, and that was the best of them all. That also puts them kind of in this unknown category, because they did that, and then they went on to almost get knocked out, drawing with Iceland at the end of that final group game, which was exciting in itself.
I think it's the Netherlands, and it feels like this isn't the first championship that this has happened. There's usually one team who sails through their first group. Netherlands was a team I was pretty high on before the tournament. Well, Chris and Brian, you guys had kind of watched them play and weren't too impressed. But I suppose the question is, are the Netherlands just really, really good at beating lower level teams, or are they actually good?
I think I wouldn't say I wasn't not impressed, for all the grammar teachers out there, for a double negative in a sentence. But I just think I didn't watch them and think, oh, this is the old Dutch team of years gone by, where you think, oh, they're going to get to the final this year. And I mean, it's not impossible to get to the final, but I just don't think they have the quality, especially in the backcourt, to trouble the really top teams. But I think we really don't know much about them with their running, especially. I think they've. I mean, if you look at the results, you think they're playing absolutely incredibly, but we don't really know. And I think the game against Brazil tonight, I think will give us a little bit more of an insight. I was a bit surprised that the Spain-Brazil game was as close as it was. I'm not sure if that's Spain a lot weaker than we expected, or Brazil are better than we expected. I think we'll know a lot more tonight, I think, with that game, Netherlands versus Brazil. I think that's going to tell us a lot about the squad. I think for me, a big surprise, if we're going to go European-centric, was maybe Montenegro beating Hungary. I kind of didn't... I mean, you had Hungary in classic Hungary form, leading 10-7 at half time and then blowing the lead and losing 24-18. I think, yeah, it's just, again, another slight disappointment. I don't know why, maybe because I live in Austria, I'm always a little bit kind of rooting for Hungary, wanting them to do well, always putting too much stock in their...
The old Empire brothers back together.
yeah, exactly. And I'm there a lot for work as well, so I always kind of want to see them do well, and they always let me down. I mean, they're by no means out of the competition now here, but they do have a bit of work to do. But Montenegro, again, maybe shown that they have a little bit more quality than we were giving them in the run-in. And I think Marta Batinovic is playing an absolutely stormer of a tournament. I think she's... I think statistics-wise, probably the best keeper so far. She's on 55% over the whole tournament. So she kind of just absolutely dominated that game, especially in the second half against Hungary. So she was huge there. So I think that was a bit of a surprise for me. I'd imagined Hungary doing the job against Montenegro. But yeah, I would agree with Alex. In terms of unknown quantity, I think I would go with the Netherlands. I think we're going to find out a lot more tonight. They're definitely favourites against Brazil. But how much... and I think they will win, but how much to win or how close to the game it will be will tell us a lot about where they stand in the tournament.
For me, the unknown quantity, I think, is still Montenegro, because they showed the disparity between their performances in those two halves against Hungary, and now they're coming up against three teams where you can see them winning all three matches on a given day, but you could also see them losing all three matches on a given day, which is super exciting. But really, I mean, you have no idea what's going to come here. And I think that sums up Group 1 very well.
Montenegro played against Croatia in the first game, and then Senegal, and up against Sweden in the last game. Yeah, I mean, that opening game against Croatia is one which was, I remember correctly, that they played friendlies in the lead-up, and it was kind of quite close. So, I mean, you'd imagine they'd be somewhat favourites going into that game, but it's one... I mean, Croatia can always be a bit of a googly for teams like Montenegro at that stage, so it could be a close one as well. So that's a huge match tomorrow.
So before we go into the four major groups in more detail, we'll listen to our interview for this episode. And earlier on today, I had a chance to catch Ćamila Mičijević from Croatia, one of the darlings from the team, where they won bronze back in 2020 at the Euro. She's had a tough old time the last couple of years recovering from knee injuries. It was an interesting time to talk to her, Croatia, on the back of that disappointing loss to Sweden, but very much still in the group and in the running here to make an impact at this World Championship. Let's hear what she had to say. A week here at the Championship already. it feels like it's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride for Croatia so far, Ćamila. Well, how would you describe the first few days?
Yes, exactly. Like you said, roller coaster. For us, first game really bad, and then we played this second game really good. I don't know. The problem was probably the first match we played very bad. And of course Sweden, we knew it before the championship that it will be a hard match for us, but I don't know, we have some problems obviously in attack. I hope now in the second round that we will find solution in this way to be better.
I mean, there's so little time at a championship to kind of reflect on a game and then prepare for the next one and try and make those fixes. What do you think is possible with the team? Because we saw in the China game, for example, you were scoring goals as a team very easily. That's a very different level, of course, to what you're going to have the next few days. But what are the main things you think you can fix in attack?
I think for sure that we are a good team and that we know to play. It's not about this, it's just that we are a little bit blocked in this attack, so I hope that we will, I'm sure that we will find solution in attack in next 3 matches. We know very good Hungarian Montenegro because we played a lot of time against them. They know us also, of course, but still I think we will play really 2 good games. I don't know, it's very hard on championship because you lost the match and then you need to find a way in not even a full 2 days to fix some things. You don't have a time for trainings video too much, but let's say that we will try to find our spirit again and our energy for attack to make things better.
Mm-hmm. And you say that in attack, maybe things are a little bit blocked, but for the most part, from what we see from the defence and also the goalkeeping, that has been fantastic so far. And that, I guess, gives a little bit of energy knowing that one side of it is working very well.
Yes, but Croatia has always this backup from goalkeepers. Really, they are amazing. First, Thea was yesterday amazing, and these things are very good. But we need to help Thea, of course, because on the end, Thea is also not happy if she is good and we are still losing. So we need to find a way. We need to find a way how to help Thea to be happy finally.
Yeah, and how do you feel as a team that other teams are approaching you in the last few years? I mean, if we think back to the great championship back in 2020, 3 years ago, where you were like the surprise package a little bit. Yes. Now you as Croatia have been at every single championship since then, and you said you know some of the teams coming up very well, but they also know you very well. Has that changed how you have to approach these games as a team?
Probably yes. It's now they are taking us serious, like really good opponents. But still, after this Denmark championship, we never get together. All this team was not on the court together until this, and it's also we are always missing someone from this position. We are not in this full team, but still, it's of course I think it's a little bit harder now to play when everybody are better prepared for us.
And for you personally, I know it's been the last couple of years difficult with injuries, but you seem to be coming back to full fitness now. How do you feel yourself in that area?
It's hard after all these situations what's happened to me, and I think it's obviously that I'm not in the same shape like before, but still I'm trying. I really want to play this on a serious level handball, and I'm trying. I'm giving my best to to prepare well for every championship, for every season, but it's a little bit harder for me now.
As Alex said at the top of the show, this is a bonus episode of the Uninformed Handball Hour. So if you are listening to this right now, it means you've got to go over to patreon.com/handball hour to listen to the rest of our chat with Ćamila and the rest of this podcast, plus plenty more bonus content throughout the championship and all year long. So it's well worth checking it out. You can test with us for a month. Head on over to patreon.com/handball hour and see you there.